Incoming transmission detected on all frequencies. The words flashed across every screen in NASA's mission control, bringing the usual bustling activity to an abrupt halt. It was just another Tuesday morning until that moment. Scientists sipping their coffee, analysts reviewing data from the Mars rovers, and technicians running routine system checks. None of them could have predicted that humanity's first contact with an alien civilization would come in the form of a warning. Dr. Sarah Chin, lead communications specialist at NASA, leaned forward in her chair, her hands hovering over her keyboard as she watched the strange symbols cascade across her monitor. The message repeated itself in perfect English, defying every encryption protocol they had in place. To the governing bodies of Earth, this transmission serves as your only warning. Your solar system has drawn the attention of the Galactic Empire. Prepare accordingly. 23 minutes later, the same message appeared on every digital device across the globe. Phones, tablets, computers, even electronic billboards in Times Square. The world stood still for a moment, united in collective shock and disbelief. Social media exploded with theories and speculation, while governments scrambled to maintain order and formulate a response. In the Pentagon's underground war room, military leaders gathered around a holographic display showing real-time satellite data. General David Thompson, a decorated veteran with salt and pepper hair and stern features, studied the readings with growing concern. Whatever sent this message bypassed every security measure we have. This isn't some elaborate hoax. We're dealing with technology far beyond our current understanding. The United Nations called an emergency session, bringing together representatives from every nation. The usual political rivalries and squabbles fell silent in the face of what could be humanity's greatest challenge. Dr. Chen, now sitting before the General Assembly, presented her analysis. The message itself reveals crucial information. First, we're dealing with an organized empire, not just a single alien race. Second, they view us as significant enough to warn, though whether that's out of courtesy or something else, we can't be sure. As the world's scientific community worked around the clock to analyze the transmission, strange anomalies began appearing at the edge of our solar system. The deep space monitoring stations picked up gravitational distortions that defied our understanding of physics. Something was out there, watching, waiting. Back at NASA, Dr. Chen discovered a hidden pattern buried within the transmission's code, a series of coordinates pointing to something in the Kuiper Belt, beyond Neptune's orbit. Whatever the Empire was planning, it seemed Earth wasn't their first stop in our cosmic neighborhood. The planet buzzed with a mixture of fear and determination. In streets and homes across the globe, people prepared for an uncertain future, while governments pooled their resources for the first time in history. Military forces worldwide were placed on high alert, though everyone knew our most advanced weapons would probably be useless against a civilization capable of interstellar travel. As hours turned into days, the waiting became almost unbearable. But humanity didn't panic. Instead, we did what we've always done in the face of overwhelming odds. We adapted. We planned. We united. Research facilities worked together across borders, sharing data and theories. Defense agencies coordinated their efforts, and space programs combined their resources. Then, exactly 1 week after the initial warning, every astronomical instrument trained on deep space detected something massive emerging from what appeared to be a tear in the fabric of spacetime itself. The Galactic Empire had arrived, and Earth's response in the coming moments would determine the fate of our entire species. The question wasn't just whether we were ready. It was whether we had interpreted their warning correctly in the first place. The massive object that emerged from the spatial tear defied conventional description. It wasn't a single ship, but rather what appeared to be a small moon-sized station, its surface covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change as Earth's telescopes struggled to maintain focus. The structure hung silently at the edge of our solar system, its presence alone causing unprecedented gravitational fluctuations that had astronomers worldwide rewriting their understanding of physics. Dr. Chen hadn't left NASA's command center in 3 days, surviving on vending machine coffee and pure adrenaline. Her team had been working frantically to decode additional patterns hidden within the original warning message. "There's something else here," she muttered. her eyes burning from staring at screens. The Empire didn't just warn us. They gave us information. We're just not seeing it yet. Meanwhile, in the hidden bunkers beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Thompson coordinated with his international counterparts. Military satellites had detected smaller objects departing from the station, following trajectories that would bring them to various points throughout the solar system. They're methodical, he observed during a video conference with global defense leaders. Whatever they're doing, they're following a predetermined plan. The objects, each about the size of a commercial aircraft, positioned themselves at specific coordinates throughout the solar system. One by one, they activated, creating a network of energy signatures that formed a perfect geometric pattern, with Earth at its center. Scientists quickly realized this wasn't a weapon array as initially feared, but rather some sort of massive scanning system. Public reaction worldwide swung between extremes. Some groups celebrated in the streets, believing this was the dawn of a new age of galactic brotherhood. Others retreated to bunkers and safe houses, convinced invasion was imminent. Most people simply continued their daily lives while obsessively checking news updates, trying to maintain normalcy in an increasingly abnormal situation. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Chen's teenage daughter, visiting the command center after school, noticed something about the Empire's geometric patterns that everyone else had missed. They matched ancient symbols found in archaeological sites across Earth, from the Nazca lines to underwater formations near Japan. "Mom," she said, pointing at her tablet, "I think they've been here before." This revelation sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Archaeological databases were re-examined, historical records scrutinized with new eyes. Patterns emerged suggesting that Earth had been under observation for thousands of years. The Empire hadn't just found us. They'd been watching our development all along. The scanning network suddenly intensified its activity, focusing particularly on areas where these ancient symbols had been discovered. Each scan revealed deeper layers of hidden structures beneath the Earth's surface, structures that predated known human civilization by tens of thousands of years. As Dr. Chen and her international team raced to understand these discoveries, the Empire's station began broadcasting a new message, this one far more complex than the first. The transmission contained vast amounts of data, including what appeared to be historical records of Earth's past encounters with galactic civilizations. But before anyone could fully process this information, the scanners detected something awakening deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, something that had been dormant for millennia. General Thompson's secure phone lit up with urgent messages from seismic monitoring stations across the Pacific Rim. Whatever was stirring beneath the waves was massive, and it was responding to the Empire's presence. The question now wasn't just about why the Empire had returned. It was about what they had left behind on Earth all those years ago and why it was awakening now. Seismic activity in the Pacific reached unprecedented levels as the ancient structure continued its ascent from the ocean depths. Coastal cities from Japan to California initiated emergency protocols, but the expected tsunamis never materialized. Instead, the ocean seemed to part around whatever was emerging, as if the waters themselves were being manipulated by technology beyond human comprehension. Dr. Chen's team had managed to partially decode the Empire's historical records, revealing a startling truth. Earth wasn't just an observation post. She explained to the hastily assembled UN Security Council. It was a safe house. The Empire wasn't warning us about their arrival. They were warning us about what they were coming to contain. Her voice trembled as satellite imagery showed a massive crystalline structure, miles high, now fully emerged from the Pacific. General Thompson's worst fears were confirmed when military sensors detected similar structures beginning to activate beneath the Antarctic ice sheet and the Sahara Desert. "There's some kind of ancient defense network," he reported, watching as holographic displays showed the structures establishing energy connections with the Empire's scanning array. The question is, defense against what? The answer came in the form of a new transmission, this one directly to the combined military command of Earth. The message contained technical specifications for modifications to existing satellite networks, along with a countdown timer. Humanity had less than 48 hours to implement these changes, but no explanation of why. Dr. Chen's daughter, still helping at the command center, made another crucial connection. The ancient symbols they discovered weren't just markers. They were part of a code, a message left by the Empire explaining their true purpose. These structures, she said, pointing to her mother's data screens, they're not just defensive positions. They're keys to something bigger. As scientists and military personnel raced to implement the Empire's modifications, astronomical observatories detected massive disturbances in space-time, far larger than anything created by the Empire's arrival. Whatever was coming made their moon-sized station look insignificant by comparison. The crystalline structures began to pulse with energy, creating visible beams that stretched into space. The Empire's station repositioned itself, aligning with these beams to form what appeared to be a massive geometric grid encompassing the entire solar system. Earth's modified satellite network automatically integrated itself into this grid, becoming part of something far greater than its creators could have imagined. Through the chaos, Dr. Chen finally decoded the Empire's true warning. Earth wasn't just a random planet in their territory. It was a linchpin in an ancient defense system spanning multiple galaxies. The structures weren't defending against an external threat. They were containing something that had been imprisoned in our dimension long ago, something that was now fighting to break free. The countdown timer reached its final hours as gravitational sensors detected multiple massive objects approaching from what appeared to be another dimension. The Empire's station began charging what could only be described as a reality-altering weapon, drawing power from the ancient structures on Earth. General Thompson received new orders directly from the Empire. Earth's military forces needed to coordinate with the defense grid for what was coming. Humanity was about to join a war that had been raging since before our species existed, and our planet's strategic position made us vital to its outcome. As the timer ticked down to zero, the sky above Earth began to tear open, revealing what lay beyond the fabric of our reality. The tear in reality revealed not the expected horror, but something far more perplexing. A perfect mirror image of our solar system, twisted and distorted as if seen through a dark lens. As humanity watched through countless screens and telescopes, the Empire's station unleashed its weapon. But instead of firing into the tear, it created a complex network of energy fields connecting our dimension's ancient structures with their mirror counterparts. Dr. Chen's hands flew across her keyboard as new data flooded in. "This isn't just about containing something," she announced, her voice tight with urgency. "The Empire didn't build these structures. They inherited them. And whatever created them was trying to protect both dimensions, not just ours." The revelation sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The Empire wasn't the advanced civilization they'd assumed. They were more like caretakers, maintaining a system they barely understood themselves. The crystalline structures on Earth suddenly shifted their energy output, synchronizing not with the Empire's station, but with their mirror images in the other dimension. General Thompson's military sensors detected a new pattern emerging. The defense grid wasn't powering up to fight. It was establishing a dialogue with its counterpart. Then came the second transmission, not from the Empire, but from the other side of the tier. The message was simple yet devastating. "You've been deceived. The Empire is not your ally." The transmission contained data showing the Empire's true history, not as guardians, but as opportunists who had discovered the ancient network and claimed it for themselves, barely understanding its true purpose. Dr. Chen's daughter, still piecing together the ancient symbols, made a chilling discovery. The patterns weren't just a code, they were a warning about the Empire themselves. The real threat wasn't coming from the tier in reality. It was already here and had been since the Empire arrived. General Thompson's secure bunker erupted into chaos as military satellites detected the Empire's scanning array beginning to reconfigure itself. The geometric pattern it had created wasn't a defense network. It was a containment field, and Earth was about to be trapped inside it. The Empire hadn't come to protect Earth from an interdimensional threat. They'd come to imprison our entire planet. The ancient structures responded to this revelation, their energy patterns shifting from synchronization to active resistance against the Empire's technology. Humanity watched in awe as the crystalline towers began to pulse with colors never before seen by human eyes, responding to commands that had lain dormant for millions of years. Through the tear in reality, massive shapes began to emerge, but they weren't the horrors the Empire had warned about. They were ships, similar in design to the ancient structures on Earth, but far more advanced than anything the Empire possessed. They moved with impossible grace, taking up defensive positions around our planet. Dr. Chen finally understood the full scope of the deception. The Empire didn't find these structures, she announced to the emergency UN session. They triggered them deliberately, trying to trap Earth in their containment field before the real Guardians could return. The ancient network wasn't a weapon or a prison. It was a beacon, calling for help across dimensions. As the Empire's true intentions became clear, their massive station began to power up its main weapon. But this time, it wasn't aiming at the tier in reality. It was targeting Earth itself. The countdown that had seemed to be warning of an interdimensional invasion was actually marking the final moments before the Empire would attempt to seize control of the ancient network by force, with humanity caught in the crossfire. As the Empire's weapon charged to full power, the ancient structures on Earth began to resonate at frequencies that made the very air vibrate. Dr. Chen's calculations revealed a stunning truth. The structures weren't just communicating. They were reconfiguring Earth's entire electromagnetic field. The planet itself was becoming part of the defense network, awakening capabilities that had laid dormant in our very geology for millions of years. The ships from the other dimension moved with precise coordination, but they weren't attacking the Empire's station. Instead, they positioned themselves at exact points around Earth, creating a pattern that perfectly mirrored the ancient structures below. General Thompson watched in amazement as his military sensors detected energy signatures connecting the ships to both the crystalline towers and their counterparts in the mirror dimension. The Empire fired their weapon, a beam of concentrated energy that could have shattered a planet. But the moment it struck Earth's newly activated electromagnetic field, something extraordinary happened. The energy didn't destroy, it transformed. The ancient structures absorbed the attack, channeling its power through the planetary network in a spectacular display of light and energy that illuminated the entire solar system. Dr. Chen's daughter, still working with the ancient symbols, decoded the final message just in time. "Mom," she called out, her voice steady despite the chaos, "the structures aren't just defending us, they're testing us. All of this, even the Empire's attack, it's part of a trial. Earth isn't just a strategic position. It's a potential member of something much bigger." The ships from the other dimension suddenly broadcast a message to every device on Earth, not in words, but in pure mathematical concepts that somehow translated directly into understanding. They were the Guardians, the original builders of the network, and they had been waiting for eons for a species to prove worthy of joining their multidimensional alliance. The Empire's deception had actually served a purpose. It had forced humanity to unite, to think beyond our planetary boundaries, and to show how we would respond to a crisis that threatened our entire world. Our response, choosing resistance over submission and cooperation over conflict, had been the final test. As the Empire's station prepared to fire again, the ancient structures reached full power. In a moment that would be remembered for generations, every human-made satellite and communication device synchronized with the defense network. Humanity's technology, primitive as it was, had proven compatible with the Guardian's network precisely because we had developed it independently, showing our potential. The Empire's weapon fired again, but this time the combined power of Earth's structures, the Guardian's ships, and humanity's synchronized technology created something unprecedented, a bridge between dimensions, turning the Empire's own containment field against them. Their massive station, caught in its own trap, began to fold in on itself, compressed by the very forces it had tried to control. But the final twist came not from the Guardians or the Empire, but from Earth itself. The crystalline structures, now fully awakened, weren't just defense systems. They were seeds, planted by the Guardians millions of years ago. As the Empire's station imploded, the structures began to transform, extending impossibly upward through the atmosphere. Earth wasn't just joining the Guardians' alliance. It was becoming a new nexus point between dimensions, a role we had been literally growing toward since the first microbes appeared in our oceans. Dr. Chen, General Thompson, and indeed all of humanity watched in awe as our planet took its place in an interstellar community far vaster and more complex than anyone had imagined. The Empire's warning had been accurate in one sense. Earth would never be the same, but instead of being conquered or contained, we had inherited a legacy left by the universe's first civilization, and our real journey was just beginning. In the months following Earth's transformation, humanity experienced changes that would have seemed impossible just a year before. The crystalline structures, now fully integrated into our planet's geography, became centers of learning where Guardian representatives helped us understand our new role in the multidimensional alliance. The structures weren't just defensive installations. They were universities, libraries, and laboratories all in one, containing knowledge gathered across billions of years. Dr. Chen found herself leading a new international organization dedicated to understanding and implementing Guardian technology. Her daughter's talent for decoding ancient symbols earned her a place among the first human students to study multidimensional physics directly from Guardian teachers. The revelation that a teenager had helped unlock humanity's cosmic destiny inspired a whole generation of young people to look at the stars with new purpose. General Thompson's role shifted from military defense to coordinating Earth's integration into the Guardian's network. The skills that had made him an effective military leader proved equally valuable in organizing humanity's first steps into a much larger community. The defense networks that had once prepared for war now maintained peace across dimensional boundaries. The Empire's defeat had far-reaching consequences. Other civilizations that had been subjugated under their rule began reaching out to Earth, seeing us as an example of successful resistance. But the Guardians revealed that the Empire's attack had served another purpose. It had demonstrated humanity's capacity to face extinction-level threats without losing our fundamental values of cooperation and determination. The ancient structures continued to grow, reaching miles into the sky, but they grew in harmony with Earth's ecosystems rather than disrupting them. Scientists discovered that the crystalline towers actually helped cleanse our atmosphere and oceans, as if they had been designed millions of years ago to help Earth heal itself once humanity reached this crucial stage in our development. Perhaps the most profound change came in how we saw ourselves. The knowledge that Earth had been chosen, prepared, and tested for this role since before humans existed gave our species a new sense of purpose. We weren't cosmic accidents. We were part of a grand design that spanned multiple dimensions and countless civilizations. Dr. Chen often found herself standing at the base of the Pacific structure, watching as its crystalline surfaces shifted with patterns that represented data flows between dimensions. We spent so long looking for our place in the universe, she would tell visiting dignitaries, only to discover that we had been growing into it all along. The Guardian's multidimensional alliance brought challenges as well as benefits. Learning to think in 4, 5, or 11 dimensions strained human minds, but each breakthrough brought new understanding. Earth's position as a dimensional nexus meant we had to grow up fast, but the Guardians proved to be patient teachers, understanding that our species was taking steps that had required other civilizations millennia to master. As the first year of Earth's new era drew to a close, humanity celebrated not just our survival, but our evolution. The Empire's warning had indeed changed our world forever, but not in the way they had intended. Instead of becoming prisoners, we had become pioneers, taking our first steps into a future that was bigger and brighter than anyone had dared to imagine. The crystalline structures continued their slow growth toward the stars, no longer alien artifacts, but monuments to humanity's potential. And in the night sky, where people had once watched for alien invaders, they now saw the shimmering lights of Guardian ships and the subtle glow of dimensional bridges, not as signs of occupation or threat, but as beacons guiding us home to our cosmic destiny. Our story hadn't ended, it had only just begun. Earth's chapter in the universe's grand narrative was still being written, and for the first time in human history, we were writing it together, in harmony with forces we were only beginning to understand.